Good morning, good day, good evening. Welcome to H Capture Live. I'm your host, Harry Bridgeforth. And today I have a very special guest, a very close friend of mine. He's a teacher, a musician, and an activist, Mr. Dylan Connor. Mr. Dylan, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good, Mr. Harold. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So to break down a little bit of, history of me and Dylan, Dylan was a student of mine. And then later on, I started learning a lot about him as a musician. He's a very well-rounded person all around. He's a great teacher in the public school system. He's also a great musician, internationally known, and he's an activist. We're going to get into that in a little bit. But for now, we're going to just keep a breakdown of the show itself. So today we're going to talk a little bit about you being a musician, you being a teacher and activist. And then we're also going to, for the other half of the show, we're going to focus on the Sports Fans Only brand, which I'm going to ask you a few questions about your sports. Also, we're going to have at the end, it's going to be a series of questions that you're not prepared for. So on the spot questions, either this or that, and I'll get to that when we get to that section. Okay.
Sounds great.
All right. So we're going to get right into the questions. So how did you get into music? How did you start into music?
The first thing I think about is that I know there exists a cassette tape of me at 2 years old singing Stevie Wonder's birthday song.
Okay.
Happy birthday to ya.
There you go.
Happy birthday. So somehow I just, it was an innate thing for me to love to sing. And I think back to those album covers that my parents had out in the 70s, mid to late 70s when I was a baby.
Okay.
On the you're playing an album on the turntable and they'd have it up, the cover up there. And I remember Stevie Wonder, Songs in the Key of Life, the Bee Gees, Saturday Night Fever, those were out a lot. And then my brothers were into Kiss and Van Halen.
Okay.
So those are some early things that come up for me. I remember seeing my sister playing percussion at the Levitt Pavilion in Westport and being like, wow, that's so cool. She's playing in a band. She was a DJ in Westport. My sister is the oldest sibling in my family, and she's quite a bit older than I am. She was 19 years older than I.
Oh, wow. Okay. How many siblings do you have?
I have four. Sorry, I'm one of four. We have three siblings.
Yeah, I'm
two brothers and a sister.
That's cool.
I'm the youngest, and so my sister and I call each other the bookends, or my mother will call us the bookends.
Yeah.
So the next thing I remember is that I love music, and I started to watch some documentaries when we had a VHS player. When we got one of those in Westport, I was living near Campo Beach, and to have a VHS was like a really big step, and or VCR, whatever you want to call it. And I got hold of a documentary called This Is Elvis, and I saw that. It just blew my mind. Everything about Elvis blew my mind, and I watched it all the time, over and over and over again. And that was what was kind of nice about those days, in a sense. Like, you didn't have all that many albums, so you'd play them over and over again, or you didn't have that many cassettes.
Yeah.
You'd just watch them until you ran them thin. And after the Elvis thing, I told my mom I gotta get a guitar. I was 7. I was 7 years old, and she took me to a place called Child World, which was a toy store in Westport back in the day. And
like a Toys R Us type of thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. It was like the biggest toy store in Westport. And I remember we got these plastic Dukes of Hazzard themed guitars. Was all they had. It was like pictures of Dukes of Hazzard, this crappy plastic guitar that you couldn't even tune. Okay. It was a toy guitar.
Yeah, the toy guitar.
I loved it. My friend and I, my neighbor, just started strumming and writing songs. So that was when I first started writing music with him. And we were just ripping off Elvis and stuff and stuff like that. And then I saw a documentary called The Complete Beatles. And that's the first time I remember shedding tears of emotional ecstasy over music. It just moved me, and that's, for me at least, the story I tell myself. I can picture that night in my house when I saw that movie for the first time and the feeling I had, and I was like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And by the age of 9, my parents got me a real acoustic guitar and started me on lessons. And I went back and forth with lessons. I didn't quite have the discipline, or my hand size was not quite there. And I didn't like the pain in my fingers. And I just didn't have the discipline to really do it. And but by the time I was in middle school is when I really picked up like a teacher that I stuck with in guitar. And then I started taking voice lessons. I loved everything to do with music. All kinds of instruments. I loved singing. I loved being in choirs throughout high school. I was in every choir they offered. I'd be in it, whether it was a barbershop quartet or the spring musical or the choir, you name it. A theory class, sight singing, all that. I just wanted to get it all. Yeah. So that's kind of where it started.
Do you only play the guitar?
No, I dabble in piano and in drums. You know, I really just barely dabble in drums. I like to play the bass guitar, and I like writing bass lines on my albums. But the only instrument I feel comfortable with getting on stage is the guitar and my voice.
Okay. What's up? I always ask that because, like, even for me, I played guitar, and I think even before that I played clarinet at some point, but I like the strings versus the wind instruments. But like singing and all that other stuff, it's kind of like that's your artistic expression. Like you have to feed that at some point, because we were talking, you're a teacher, like you said before, you're an activist also, but a big part of you has to deal with music, because if you don't do that, you don't feel like like you're complete, like as a person.
Music is it. I mean, for me, I've created a life that has many more aspects to it, and try to. I think the word I like to use is just to curate a life. That is a work in progress. But any day of the week, you ask me, the greatest thing about life is music. Period. And like you said, if I don't play music on a daily basis, I'm not in harmony with my life. And so I try each day to play some music. That's why I have a guitar in my classroom. I have a drum in my classroom. Going back to instruments I play, I forgot. I studied a really cool instrument in college for 4 years. Unfortunately, I've kind of dropped it, but not kind of. I have dropped it since then. But it's the Indian drum, the tabla. Two drums, one kind of big round one and one kind of smaller one. It's 2 hands, sit on the floor and play it. Boom,
okay.
And I really got into that in college, so that was cool.
Like therapeutic.
Yeah, but also challenging, because it taught me all about different rhythms and time signatures, and playing different rhythms against each other. So my teacher would be playing in one time signature and tell me to play in another, and we'd get those matching with each other, which was really cool. I was able to play some Indian dance recitals as well with him.
Okay.
Which was great.
That's awesome. I love to hear. We're both artists, and this platform is really for artists. So I like to hear like different people's perspectives and where they came from, how they did it. And great story. So the next question is a little bit off topic, off of the music end. I want to give the fans and audience at least a good wide range of what you do. So the next thing, we've talked off camera, you're a big activist in Syria. Can you talk about your involvement with like the crisis in Syria right now? Like if you want to, any of the details that kind of correlate with that.
Sure. Well, it starts with when I met my wife. She was studying for her master's at the University of Bridgeforth in the early 2000s. She was 20-something years old and had come from Syria, having grown up there her whole life, and came here, which was a big move for a single woman in her early 20s to come to the United States to study on her own was a big move. And I met her during that time and was crazy about her from the moment I saw her. And so through her, I learned about this country called Syria, which I had kind of just peripherally known about
you hear
as
about
being, part of George W. Bush's axis of evil and stuff like that. There's like a very dark picture of Syria in my mind. But through this beautiful woman that I met named Reem Al-Hariri, now Reem Connor, I'm honored to say, I learned about the country and I learned about the culture, and I was able to travel there in 2007 and 2009 for about a month at a clip in the summers. And that really blew me away. I mean, this place could not be more different from Stratford, Connecticut. It is another planet. And it just, I didn't realize how much of a thirst I had for kind of other culture, input and perspective on life. And I'm a firm believer, we have many worlds on this world. You can travel to other worlds on this planet, and that was one of them for me. So I fell in love with the country, with the people, with my in-laws there, with my family, and I started to learn the language. I just really soaked it up. And then in 2011, as we were preparing to go back that summer and bring my father this time, and we were going to visit the city of Aleppo for the first time in 2011. In March of 2011, you might recall the Arab Spring. And that began with a revolution in Tunisia, successful overthrow of a dictatorial government. And then it moved to Egypt, which had a very unlikely revolution that was successful in toppling their president. And then my wife was saying, and all the Syrians were saying, there's no way it'll go to Syria. No way. It's way too tightly run. It's too much of a police state. They'll never let it happen. People are too afraid. And next thing you knew, it happened in Syria.
Wow.
So when that occurred, I was very in tune with people on the ground through my wife and her family. And so that was the beginning of my involvement. And since 2011, I've devoted a big chunk of my being and my time to advocating for a free Syria. That still hasn't come. Here we are in 2022, so 11 years later, with 500,000 people registered, having been acknowledged being killed there through this. The regime of Bashar al-Assad still in power, backed up by Russia and Iran. Biden essentially having zero policy on this whatsoever. It's just not even on the map, really. But despite the odds against us, there are thousands and thousands of people around the world and in the United States whose heart and blood, sweat, and tears are in the advocating, working towards a free Syria without Bashar al-Assad as the dictator. And it's been a life-changing experience. I've traveled to the border with Syria several times to help refugees, to teach at refugee schools.
I remember you were telling me that stuff. I was like, just be careful. I remember one time after class, you were talking to me about it. So yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. And I have to tell you that my training in Taekwondo with you gave me more confidence than I'd ever had in my life, just in my own body and in my own skin. That when I'm walking down the street in a strange city on the border with Syria, I had more of a sense of what's around me. I had more of a sense of what I would do if I needed to do something. Nothing came to pass, thank goodness. But I had a couple uncomfortable moments, that's for sure. But that training, probably more mentally than physically, helped me.
You were prepared. I did my job.
Yes.
Awesome.
So I'm currently on the national board of something called the Syrian American Council, which is the United States' largest grassroots organization to advocate for a free and democratic Syria. So I'm really proud that, you know, I ran for that board and I was elected to that board because I'd put skin in the game and people knew that. And so I'm honored to be a part of that, and the work goes on there.
Congratulations, my friend.
Thank
I love
you.
hearing that stuff. And like I said, you have a big heart, and a lot of people that are in these positions, we talked off camera about you know, monetary values and things like that. And like I said before, I want to get involved as much as I can to help, you know, support you. And
thank you.
And you know, obviously even with this platform to kind of get more exposure to that.
Yes.
You know, and like I said, you're a very well-rounded person, so I want to make sure that we talked about that particular topic, because I know it's a very important part of your life. You know?
Thank you. Well, on that, to piggyback on what you're saying, just important for me to say is that through my trips to the border, the Turkish border with Syria and the Jordanian border with Syria, I've been able to meet refugee families who have nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, they're living in basically a one-room shed and have, you know, catastrophic injuries and are trying to raise a family without being able to even get a job. And so I've been trying to act as a bridge between people here who can help sponsor people that I've met personally. So if anyone in your audience is interested in that kind of direct connection, as opposed to giving money to an organization, Save the Children, where it's great and you give your money, but you don't quite know where it goes. I'm working with people on the ground who I know personally. And so if anyone is interested in that more direct connection with a sponsor-sponsee relationship in terms of helping someone pay their basic rent and to feed themselves, give them some dignity, I'd be happy to talk to them.
Yeah, we definitely. You're gonna, send me the links and we'll get that going, because the more and more exposure to help, the better it is for everybody across the board. And I think that a lot of times people have the resources, but they, like you said before, feeding, Save the Children, you send your money and you're like, okay, I don't even know if the stuff actually gets there. But, it's just the principle that you feel like you gave your money. But having a family, seeing where it goes, having a direct connection is a big difference. So definitely we'll send me all the details after the show, and I'll get it going.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
So off that topic, going back. So going back into being a musician, we talked about the original impact that Elvis had. Would you say that he is your favorite musician, or if he isn't your favorite musician, who is your favorite musician, and how did they impact your career?
Yeah, no, he's not my favorite musician. I think his voice is, otherworldly, beautiful, magical thing. And I also just love all that 1950s rock where it was born, Little Richard, Chuck Berry, who else? Fats Domino. I love those early guys. Buddy Cochran, Carl Perkins, Buddy Holly. Really into all that stuff. There was a year of my life where I only listened to rock from the 50s.
Oh, nice.
When I was educating myself in rock and roll. And
that's a big part, though, right? Like I think that as an artist of any form, you need to understand the past to kind of apply to the present and then plan for the future, right? So
that's right.
That's an important part, to know the past, not just I like playing a guitar, but like you actually research the guys that actually brought to the forefront. So that's awesome. Yeah,
and a lot of the people that I hang with and have hung out with musically in the past, they're really tapped into the blues, because of course, the blues is where we get rock and roll from, and blues is an American art form, and rock and roll is an American art form, which is really cool. To feel a part of that. Yeah. And for me, I don't know what it was. I respect and love the blues, but it's never been the thing I want to sit and listen to.
Yeah, okay.
And neither is jazz, really. But rock and roll really is.
Got it.
That's the thing that floats my boat. Yeah,
that's the connection piece. And like I said, music has so many different ranges. Like you're saying, like blues, to me, there's a time and place for every type of music. but there's certain music that you like. You typically can listen to that all the time. Like it's like, okay, that's my connection.
Yes. Yes.
You know? So
right.
I totally get what you're saying.
So when it comes to my favorite musician, two come to mind. And I don't know if I can pick one or the other, but
you gotta pick one.
Okay, Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bob Dylan.
Who was the other one? Before we go into why, who was the other guy?
Yeah, Eddie Van Halen.
Van Halen? Okay.
Yeah, the band Van Halen, and particularly Eddie Van Halen, the guitar player. They're both such a part of the fabric of my life. I was named after Bob Dylan and was raised on his music by my dad. My dad's a poet and a photographer and an artist, and I couldn't stand Bob Dylan back when I was a kid. But my dad was always playing, you know, and there's a lot that's weird about Bob Dylan, you know, and
most artists have a little weird part about him, right?
Yeah, he's just got a lot of weird. But I remember I was in the back of my dad's car doing the typical drive that we would do to my grandparents' house up Route 8 into the Berkshires. And I just remember that day where I was like, wait, I like this now. I hated it. Now I like it. The switch flipped.
Yep.
And there was no going back. And then, you know, ever since I've been a diehard fan, you know, I read books about Bob Dylan. I watch everything I can about him. I listen to all his music. I love his new stuff. A lot of people are like, oh, his old stuff was great, but he sucks now or whatever. But I love his new stuff, and I'm a real fan. So he is, to me, something like a prophet of sorts, or a channel from somewhere else. And he'll say that too. When you ask him, like, what's that song about? He'll be like, and he has an attitude about it. He'll be like, what the heck's wrong with you? Ask me what it's about. I don't know what it's about. You know?
I just made it.
I didn't write that. You know, he'll say, I didn't write it. You know what I mean? It just
came to him.
It came through. And he is so steeped in the traditions of American music that he's able to package it in the form. You know, form's important. As we know from Taekwondo, form and basic form are very important. You can never do too much of the basics, right?
That's it.
So
you remember,
Bob Dylan will constantly go back to the blues form on every record. You know, he'll go back and forth from one kind of complex rock song and then right to a 12-bar blues structure. And he's just brings me in touch with what it is to be human, and he brings me in touch with otherworldly feelings as well, like almost giving me faith that there are other dimensions and times, and that time isn't linear, and that you can tap into it, the past or the present, or the future. So there's a lot about Bob Dylan I love. Like any artist, you know, every artist puts out some crap now and again. Yeah, of course. That's just not great, you know?
Yeah, you're not perfect, so.
Right. But he's my number one guy. And then there was a follow-up to that you asked me about. Once you say
how did he inspire you? But you kind of elaborated.
Yeah.
That's
you
cool.
got it.
Awesome. That's a good pick. I mean, like that's the whole point. Like I said, I like to hear not only just, you know, answers to the questions, but like, you know, why? Because that's the that once I get that, I can kind of understand. Oh, that makes sense now, or that's why you like that. That makes sense now. So it's just logic and kind of breaking down people and getting different personas and things like that. I love it.
Cool.
All right. So the next question is, if you had a dream song, more likely you're gonna say Bob Dylan, but if you had a dream song to make, so that means you can write it, you can sing it, you can play it all together, who would it be with? Like who would you make this song with? You don't like I don't
Paul
know
McCartney.
Paul McCartney? Okay.
Paul McCartney, yeah. He's still alive and he's a Beatle, and
yeah.
You know, the Beatles are magic, and you know, I'm not kidding when I say this. The Beatles make me believe in God. I mean, they're one thing that makes me believe in God. That four guys from Liverpool, teenagers, come together and make that.
Yep. And they're like, not just make it where you had one or two songs, but like they are legendary. Like they're the Beatles changed the world. Yep.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, just song after song after song. They tapped into it. They had the chemistry.
Yep.
So anyway, you know, definitely Paul McCartney, man. To sit in a room with him and collaborate, because I hear he's really cool and like chill about collaborating. And he's
especially now he doesn't have anything to prove or anything. Like he's not
right.
Like in competition with anybody. He's like, oh, you want to make a song? Okay, let's make this.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember reading some one of his recent producers from a few albums ago. It's just like, yeah, he didn't have any material. We sat down, he wanted to just write with me. And that's what we did, you know. It was like easy and like quick, and I think that would be fun, you know.
McCartney, okay, awesome. And the last artistic question would be, we talked off camera, and you know, what would be your future endeavors, or do you have future endeavors that you're involved with now that you can kind of like talk about?
Well, you know, I'm still pursuing getting my music to more ears, to more hearts, to more minds.
Yep.
And one thing I'm good at is writing songs and putting out records. The thing I've not been very good at is letting the album have a proper lifespan.
Okay.
Like putting that work that it takes after you release the album to properly promote it and tour behind it.
Okay.
Otherwise, you know, it's like you might as well be a star up in space. You know what I mean? Being on Spotify these days is like just.
I mean, there's people that get that now. They don't even go on tour, and they just get like streams. You know what I mean? Like, but
yeah,
you're a traditional.
Well, if you're getting millions of streams, good for you. I mean, I'd like that too. That's more ears. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wanna have that feeling of that experience of putting out music where I can go out on the road and play, you know, a nice solid crowd night after night. That's one of my dreams, and I've yet to achieve that particular one. So that's certainly in my future.
Okay.
I know I can do it, you know, and I look forward to it. So for example, like I played this year, I do a yearly or twice a year show at FTC Stage 1 in Fairfield. And it's a 220 seat venue, and it's beautiful. It's great sound, all that good stuff. It's like a real deal show, as opposed to, you know, other types of gigs I do that I love, but that you're more in a bar or in a restaurant or at someone's private party. No, this is like a theater, and it's a great show. And my bass player, Trevor, one of my best friends in the world, he was like, man, you know, after our last show, he's like, wouldn't it be great to do that every night for like a month?
Every night, yep.
You know? And I was like, oh my God, totally, man. So that's what I'd like to do. You know, get out there for a proper tour where I could pay my musicians to come with me, and maybe get a tour bus. I'd love to do all that, you know.
Yeah.
I am you know, about to put out a couple videos for a song for my latest album. The song is not a likely single, but I just think I want to put it out as a visual thing too, with video. It's called Unsung Heroes, and it's a ballad that I wrote on the piano. And I'm doing 2 videos for her right now. You know about one of them.
Of course.
So one of the videos is these days what I've learned is that as a musician, I want to put out, if I'm releasing a single, there should be 3 videos.
Okay.
There should be a live video, official live video of the song. There should be an official lyric video of the song, which is a new art form in the last 5 or so years, where, you know, it's not a typical music video like an MTV music video. It's imagery with the lyrics.
Yeah. So
and
someone else can like read on and sing on along with it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then the narrative video, which is what we think of an official music video. So the one that you are involved with is the official music video, the narrative video.
I appreciate that. Good experience. That was very, like I said, it was extremely fun. I had a lot of ball with that. It was really nice. And the song
it was a beautiful day.
Yeah,
it was a beautiful day, and to have you all there together. And the concept of the song is who's your unsung hero? You know, who should the world know about is close to your heart, who's dearly departed.
Yeah.
And the idea of the song is that our unsung heroes are up there looking down on us and shining in the sky, and they're in the falling leaves, and they're in the world around us. We don't necessarily see them, but we feel them, hopefully. And at least, I mean, that's how I like to imagine my reality, is that my dearly departed aunts and uncles who meant so much to me are not far.
Yeah, they're still around. They're still able to affect your life, but not in the same way they were when they were physical.
Right.
I believe in that stuff too. That's why I said the song touched me more than it was just like a music video, or even like I said, we see each other here and there, but like I finally got a time to like spend some time with you in your environment, and then meet your family and stuff, and that was great too. But when I'm sitting there and I'm listening to you, when you started playing on the piano, it just hit a particular piece of me where I sat back and I actually absorbed it.
Oh, cool.
So I was in the moment when you were singing. Nice. I got it on video and stuff. So I was listening to it and played it, downloaded it, played it all the way back home. So,
nice.
Yeah, it's awesome. A great song. It's a great song.
Thank you.
I love it.
So and then the other version of the video, or I should say the lyric video, is going to be a powerful, I hope, as well. When I initially wrote the song, it was a visceral reaction to a freedom advocate in Syria being assassinated, a guy that was famous for being kind of a hero in the movement. But the Syrian freedom struggle is not a worldwide known movement. What I mean? Yeah. So anyway, for me, when he was killed, it was a big deal. I had met him on the border of Syria and Turkey. We have a nice picture together. He got my CD, the songs that I'd written for Syria, and we communicated on Facebook Messenger a bunch.
Yeah.
And he was so cool, man. He wasn't a guy who would ever pick up a gun. He fought with music and radio, and he had something called Radio Fresh that broadcasts from one of the free cities in northern Syria, and was a rebel radio station. And he also was an artist, and he would make political cartoons to express how the Syrians were feeling. His name was Raed Faris, and he was killed, and I sat down at the piano and wrote that song, Unsung Heroes. So the lyric video is going to be a collection of drawings by a wonderful artist named Mark Nelson of the faces of Syrian martyrs, of people who've died in the cause of a free Syria, who are in it for the right reasons, and who I think deserve to be remembered and honored. So that's the lyric video concept.
Yeah, that's why I said the song itself, it touches on a lot more than just just a song. There's a really deep meaning behind that. If you really, because I was listening to the lyrics first, because you played it a couple times, and I was listening to the lyrics, and it, like I said, it hit a nerve. Hopefully, it hits a nerve with other people, and they really gravitate towards. Because, like I said, it's a great song. So
thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it definitely will touch you, especially if you have someone that's close to you. Most people have somebody that was close to you that passed. Like in my situation, it was just my grandfather. I never got a chance to meet him, but because he passed when my dad was 9. But I would have really loved to actually, get his insight on life and bond with him, with my dad, because it's multiple generations, and I kind of look like him.
I noticed that.
We're very like similar from what my dad told me. So, I'm the third Harold, so it's kind of like it's just, there's a lot of pieces there that I didn't really get, but it would have been really nice to meet him, and he did a lot for in his military career, and then obviously raising my dad as long as he lived. So I kind of owed that to him, and I wish that was something that I was able to do. That was pretty cool.
My unsung hero from the video shoot you were in is my grandfather as well, like you.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandfather isn't really my grandfather biologically. He is my dad's uncle.
Okay.
And so my dad's uncle adopted my father when my father was going through a bunch of foster care disasters. And this is my version of what happened. It might not be exactly what happened, but he saw that my dad was, I think, on the roof of one of these foster homes, like when he should have been in school, and he was like 12 years old.
Okay.
And he was like, "That's it. Like I'm
taking him." Yeah.
And so he's a hero because, if he hadn't taken my dad in, who knows?
Yeah.
And the picture that I had on the piano was of him holding me when I was
I've seen that.
a couple weeks old.
Yeah, man. That's what it is. It's like I said, it's a touching thing across the board. It's not just a song. So I commend you for that.
Thanks.
I appreciate you being, allowing me to be part of that.
It's mutual, man. You're one of my teachers, and that's a big deal.
Appreciate it. So that's the artistic end. And like I said, definitely make sure that you send me the links for the Syrian stuff, the iTunes, the songs, obviously the music video comes out and be pushing it, and we're gonna get a lot of exposure as much of it as possible for you, because you're doing a lot of great things. So
thanks, man.
Just let me know when all that stuff comes out.
Sounds good.
So the next section is we're going to talk about some sports stuff. We're going to go into my other brand, Sports Fans Only. So it's basically going to be one sports question. We're going to talk about quick topic. I know you like the Rangers. So we're going to talk about the Rangers. And then we're going to have a series of questions. It's called the rapid fire questions. So basically what happens is I ask you a couple questions. It's going to be this or that. Like if I asked you, do you like pizza or hamburgers? And you'd say, pizza or hamburgers, and you can elaborate if you like. But it's basically like a couple of questions, and then we'll conclude. You can give any links and anything like that. You ready? We're gonna go through a couple of questions, and then we're gonna go through the first question, the sports question, then we're gonna go through the rapid questions. All right?
Yeah.
Here we go. All right. So, sports question. For the Rangers, what do you think they need to succeed in this season?
Well, they are a young team. Last year, they got pretty close to Stanley Cup finals.
Yep.
And so this year, they're on a good track, I think, to keep building that momentum from last season.
Mm-hmm.
I think they need to see good things from their defensive star, Fox, who is reminiscent of the great Brian Leach from the 90s, who I feel a connection with, the legend of Leach, who was on the team when they won the Cup. My brother was at Avon Old Farm. My brothers went to Avon Old Farms when he was on the team there. And my brother Jimmy managed the team at that back in those days. Anyway, so my brother was saying that Fox reminds him of Leach a little bit in terms of what he's doing for the team. Their goalie Shesterkin, I believe it's pronounced.
Okay.
Is important part,
obviously big part,
obviously a huge part of it. He's got to obviously kick butt, and he's a really strong part of the team. And then there's a forward who's got a great name. It's like it's Capo, I think.
Okay. I gotta look this guy up after this.
It's Capo.
Okay.
And
I know there's a lot of jokes with that last name. I don't mind.
And I believe he's Finnish, and he's kind of the star forward. So I think that if those three elements of the goal, the defense, and that star forward remain intact, it's pretty promising season.
Okay, awesome.
The reason I feel any connection to the Rangers, and I'm not typically a huge sports person in my life, but I think, like with many of us, it's about family and connections growing up. Yeah. So I was brought up in a family of diehard New York Ranger fans.
So you, by default, you had no choice.
By default, and we had, my brothers and I have a different dad. My half brothers. I never think of them as half brothers, just brothers. But we had different dads, and their dad had gotten season tickets to the Rangers, third row behind the goal.
Wow.
So my whole life growing up, I would once in a while get in on those seats, and it was so much fun and so intimate. And so that's where I fell in love with hockey as a live sport, because it was like so much different to be there in that third row
versus watching on TV
versus TV, because hockey on TV is not great, I don't think, but being there was really great. And
you got the rink. I remember I brought my daughter Zara. You know Zara. It was actually Zoe, not Zara. Zoe had like a birthday party or something like that, and we went to the rink. And that was the first time I actually went into like a hockey rink. I guess before they got a hockey rink. Where is it? It might be in Fairfield. We were there, and they had like I guess like a little area where they had like the laser tag thing, but we had to go through.
Oh, you think about Shelton maybe?
Shelton, Shelton. Yeah, because it's got
you
like
have to go through the hockey rink to get to the laser tag.
Yep. So we went there, and that was the first time I saw the team. There was a team there practicing and stuff, and I was like, "This is pretty cool. I might want to go to like a game or something." Like I'd never been to a hockey game, so I was like, "All right, that might be pretty cool." And Zoe's sitting there. He's like, "Yeah, Daddy, this looks like pretty fun." The guys like swinging around, they're doing their little tricks and stuff coming up. It's more complicated than it looks on TV. Seeing it like firsthand, so I could definitely appreciate that a little bit more when you're actually seeing it. And I think that's as an athlete, you're looking at it like, I could do this or I couldn't do that, but then it's like looking like it's a lot more entertainment. The same way I feel about baseball. I don't really a baseball person. I can't watch it on TV, but I can actually go to a game and enjoy that. So I totally understand that. All right, so Rangers, awesome. So we're gonna get into the rapid fire questions, and then we're gonna conclude for tonight. So the rapid fire questions are basically questions of this or that, and like I said, you can elaborate on them. And there's one question that's gonna have a little bit more of a tie-in, so you can elaborate on it if you'd like.
Okay.
So the first question is, which is the better franchise, Yankees or Red Sox?
Red Sox.
Red Sox. Okay.
Elaborating. That's a tough one, and and I kind of oscillated as a kid between. I started Yankees fan, went to a lot of Yankees games, but then there was something about the Red Sox in the 80s that grabbed me, because it was like rougher around the edges, the handlebar mustaches, Wade Boggs and Roger Clemens, and it was just like rougher around the edges, and I just got into those players, and then when they finally beat the Yankees in that World Series in the early 2000s, I forget which year it was.
That
was I thought that I was way into the Red Sox then, but
the curse was lifted.
Yes, that's right. The curse was lifted. And anyway, I'm not a big follower of baseball these days, but that's my answer.
Red Sox. Cool. I like it. I love it. All right. Next, Kobe or LeBron?
LeBron. Awesome.
Cool. Music question. Prince or Michael Jackson?
Prince.
I think you're gonna go with Prince, but that's cool.
I'm a huge fan of both.
Yeah.
Huge fan of both. But Prince, man, he just did so much more. Yeah. He played everything. He produced everything. The guy is a raging freak of nature, like just ridiculous. Yeah. He's the kind of guy you see play and you just want to quit. Yeah. I mean, what's the point? What's the point of going on another second when you see that guy? Like, I just saw a clip of Prince the other day playing slap bass like a monster.
Like nothing. It's wild that someone can actually learn all of those instruments that he can play. I mean, he can play them all good too. It ain't like he was like okay over here. Like he actually took the time to like master each one of them. And he sang. The only thing he said, like the only thing that I think Michael actually had him with was because they could both make music, but Michael was the dancer. He was He was like the dancer, but entertainment wise, I think Michael probably. Yeah, Michael got him in entertainment because he could dance. Michael's like in another building than anybody, really. Yeah, he's like out. He's over here.
Yeah, but Prince is, I don't understand it. I don't understand how he was who he was, and there's so much left to be, I think, learned from him, and marveled about who he was now. But he was so good at so many different things that he almost did a disservice to himself by being.
Yeah, he couldn't really like. There's no real like comparison. You can't compare him to anybody. It's like, all right, he's just over here. He's over there.
Yeah, but like people don't. You wouldn't like. Okay, if you're thinking about great guitarists, you think about, Eddie Van Halen or Eric Clapton or you name it, like the classic guitar
people. Yeah.
Right? He's one of those, but because he's Prince and he did everything, you wouldn't think of him necessarily as a guitar.
Just that. Yeah, like a guitarist. Yep. Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. So this next one is a little longer. If you got into a fight, you got to pick one of these two people, but your opponent gets to take the other person, okay? Which person would you choose? Mike Tyson or Muhammad Ali? And if the other person gets to take the other guy.
That is a tough one.
Yeah.
I think Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali.
Now, saying that, I am afraid I'm going to get my ass kicked. But I think that's me. If I'm Muhammad Ali, I'm not going to be afraid. And I love Muhammad Ali's confidence. I think Mike Tyson shows there's some vibe that has a bit of insecurity about who he is, maybe, or something. When I see him or hear him, he's incredible. And Mike Tyson's just a monster in so many ways. And Muhammad Ali to me also had a great political life. Yeah. And I don't think Mike Tyson has that in the same way at all that Muhammad Ali did.
Yeah. Two different people.
So
but it's just like, it's the idea that either most fighters are either like, at least the boxers, because we didn't go into like MMA or martial arts and like that, but like if you got to pick which one to kind of like, I'm in a fight with them and they can help me, like, who would I use? It's a toss up because you don't know who you're going against. That's the reason why I throw that in there.
Wait, but no, just to be clear, I have to go against Mike Tyson if I pick Muhammad Ali, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
So it's you and Muhammad Ali versus Mike Tyson and the guy you got started a fight with. Or you got
now I get it. Well, I'm still gonna stick the same.
Okay.
I thought it was like I am Muhammad Ali and my buddy is Mike Tyson.
So either way, so you got Muhammad. Good. Cool.
Yeah.
And the last question is more of like, because I'm an artist, I love comic books, I love movies.
Okay.
And right now the superhero genre is really big.
Yeah.
So if you got to pick, which team would you be on? This is a Marvel question. I'm usually a DC fan, but I'm gonna stick with Marvel today.
Okay.
Would you be Team Cap or Team Iron Man?
That's a loaded question, Mr.
I know. I had to ask
you. You must have known that. Well, I got to say, Team Iron Man, definitely. Lots of reasons. I identify more with Tony Stark and Iron Man, and who he was and who he became. I loved that story, the origin story. And Captain America is a little too goody two shoes.
Yeah.
And I don't like where things went with Captain America: Civil War.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, I was not happy with the ending. You know, just seeing that in. Well, I don't want to spoil for anybody, but anyway, I wasn't.
They should have seen it by now. They should have seen it by now. But yeah.
And I have a family stake in the Iron Man franchise. This great picture behind me right here of a cat pooping robot heads that says "Thinking of You, KMA." Kiss my ass, I guess. Is a piece of art by the same guy who played Tony Stark in Iron Man.
There we go.
And I
that was nicely done how you did that.
And actually the T-shirt I'm wearing right here is a birthday gift from that guy as well. Let's leave it there.
Just leave it there. We'll leave it there. We'll cut it off. you guys can reach out to Dylan if you want to ask him more questions about that particular topic. But I don't know. I think originally I was I liked Captain America when I was growing up. I think that like his character I think was showcased a little bit more than Iron Man. But then I liked how the MCU utilized Iron Man to kind of start everything. And I think that, Robert Downey Jr., he was a perfect kind of like casting too. He kind of fit that mold very well. I liked how his career was rebuilt through that character, and it's
right.
It's a plus and a con, I think, with a lot of the actors that kind of played those characters, particularly him, Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth, for those three. But I loved how they showcased his strong suits. And I'm a technology guy now. I think I'm more, catered to that versus, the Captain America. And not that I don't love Cap, but yeah, I like Iron Man a little bit more now than when I was growing up. I like Captain more, so that's cool.
I liked the Captain America origin movie. Mm-hmm. And I think basically the origin movies are my favorites of those types of Marvel films. The Marvel films in general are too busy for me. They're, I'm more of a, I don't know, traditional film kind of person.
Yeah.
And there's so much happening.
Yeah.
And I had a friend who works in like compositing CGI and stuff like that. I mean, it's incredible. He'll be like, he works for weeks and months on a 10-second segment of a Marvel film or a Star Wars film or something.
Yeah.
But I like how Iron Man and Captain America become kind of the symbol for the tension in the Marvel, in the Avengers, right? About who are we?
Yeah.
And I like that tension between the two of them and the love.
Yeah. At the end, it was like they're like brothers, at the end. Yeah. He started as enemies and they ended up as brothers. So it's a beautiful story. Like I said, I love movies and acting and film and stuff like that. So it was really cool to kind of see that actually happen. First off, being a comic book fan, like actually seeing a movie with all these characters in it, I never thought that was going to happen to begin with.
Yeah.
I mean, multiple movies now. So, they kind of made a staple on film. So it's great. Kudos to them.
Yeah.
All right. So that concludes my interview, sir. Are there any links and anything where people can find you on social media?
Yeah. I'm on all social media platforms, Facebook, Dylan Connor Music, TikTok, Dylan Connor Music. Instagram, Dylan J. Connor. Twitter, Dylan Con. Anyway, you can find me there.
Yeah.
I try to keep the picture the same across the profile picture the same across the platforms. And I have a website
too, right? iTunes.
Yeah, Apple Music, Spotify.
Yeah.
Any of those, I'm there. And YouTube. You can just Google or search my name, and www.dylanconnor.com is my website. And I'm still a big believer in websites, and I think they're relevant still in my world.
Yeah. They are in general. It is what it is. It's technology, right? So definitely, make sure you download the songs, especially Unsung Heroes, the ones he's releasing soon. Listen to his old music. I downloaded. I have a couple of the original albums, the last album that you did, and then I just downloaded the last song, Unsung Heroes.
Cool.
Which, it's a great.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no doubt.
You still download stuff?
Yeah, I got it on my phone.
Really?
Carry it with
download
me.
it.
That's
it.
Wow. That's it. I'm old school like that, I guess.
Yeah, it's like I don't hear many people talking about downloading these days, but I've noticed you guys still talking iTunes and downloading.
Yeah, I got it all. Like I want to, because put it like this: when they stop doing stuff, I still want to be able to store it somewhere.
Right.
So, like I can.
Right.
I'm not. I don't want to get to the point where they're like, "Oh yeah, now you can't get that because you don't have this service." You know what I mean? Like,
That's right.
That's right. They do that.
That's why records are great, man.
Yeah.
Like vinyl records.
Do you have that? Can you make a? Do you have like vinyl records of your songs?
Yeah, look, I'll show you.
I want to get one of those.
This is
that was the one. Album. Yeah, okay, I remember that one. Yep, I remember that last time when we went over. Yep.
This is the only one that I have on vinyl. Spirit Glue.
Okay.
You can order that from my website if you want, anyone, or you can buy it at a show or whatever. Anyway, vinyl. It's great because when all the digital stuff disappears one day, we'll still have these physical objects.
That's what I mean. I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna order one.
Well, what's interesting about vinyl and analog is that it's an actual reflection of the performance. It's an actual reflection, whereas digital is a sample. Mm-hmm. It's a, I don't know what's a better way to put it. It's not. Yeah, it's a representation or a recreation of what happened, but it's not an actual reflection of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes any sense.
Because when you're doing the vinyl, you can't chop it up. It has to be what it is, or it isn't. Like the digital, you can change sounds, adjust certain things, move certain things over here. You know what I mean? So it sounds like perfect.
Right. We call that being in the grid.
Yep.
But I want to be clear about something. Most vinyl that's coming out now is actually just
songs transferred.
It's just the grid stuff from the digital editing software and stuff like that, Pro Tools and Logic. Yeah. And that's fine. But this record, for example, so it's kind of a hybrid. So we recorded to tape.
Okay.
And then once it was on tape, we dumped it into Pro Tools and we edited it there.
Okay.
And then brought it back onto tape to mix it.
Oh wow.
So it's mixed back down onto tape. So I'm proud of that.
Yeah, that's an interesting. So I said I gotta get one. I gotta make sure I get one because I don't want it to be gone and I can't get one later. So. All right.
Thanks, Mr. Harold.
Thank you, my friend. I wish all the best of luck. I definitely want to continue supporting. Make sure if you need me in any way, just let me know. I'll let you know when the shows and the episodes actually come out. And we'll take it from there. Definitely make sure you send me the links, the contact stuff about the Syria.
Yeah.
Any of the stuff for the songs that come out in the music videos, and we'll get it out there from my platforms at least. And
I look forward to cross promoting. And,
definitely.
Reaching more people.
All right, bro. This is H Capture Live. Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace out.
Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
in the pale sunset light, where their spirits